Good evening, everybody. It is 6:06. I'd like to call the meeting in order. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Round the room. Mike Volpone.
David Dempsey.
Celine Muldowney.
Mark Sands?
David Roll.
Thank you all very much. Can I get has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes? Because I'll be honest with you, I didn't either.
I did. It was a while ago, right?
I thought it was the last one that
Yeah, January.
last meeting was December 16th.
They actually came out early, right?
Yeah, well, like
How about on
8
time?
days ago, yeah.
Early is better than on time.
I'll take on time.
I think I did look at the minute after.
Did I don't have them. Because the last meeting was the 16th, I don't see anything after that date.
Well.
I'm gonna table them until we can get a chance, and we'll just approve next month if we need to. And we just
Do you
look at
still
it.
have a copy? So when you send these ones?
These are the December meetings?
December
This is
16th.
December, yeah.
I have,
Well, when you do this one, just attach last one too. We just started.
Hello, Alicia.
I'll
All right.
resend the minutes out, prior to these minutes, and then follow up with
Okay,
this minute.
thank you.
I think it's the minutes from November 18th.
I
Um,
have something on Thursday, but that doesn't make any sense, but
I did too.
December 16th,
Yeah, December 16th, yeah.
but I knew I said it, no.
I got it right here.
Those meeting minutes with?
Yep.
All right, that'll give me one.
Okay, January 16th. I sent it.
January 16th? I'm just gonna stop now to go to that.
Hi everyone.
He's,
Hi,
Boy,
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
was that your mom in the paper? A little, or someone's?
My father-in-law. Today?
It was a woman, Greco. It was like a year memorial.
That was my father-in-law, yeah. His wife put that in the paper.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna table the minutes just until next month, so we get a chance to look at them, so we'll just go from there. Any correspondence, bills?
Yes, but you with those.
Byfield Water District and Townsend Energy. So, Townsend Energy is just a little confusing because the amount due is different than the balance, and I don't know that the balance is all
All
us.
us? Oh, Matt Allen?
Yes, please.
Assuming not. And then on a side note, we have Triton Youth Soccer put in their complete application. They paid per player, so I went back and I sent that email, recalculated it.
Yep.
And then GPS, I just picked up, they sent in their application by mail. And the only thing is that they both signed up for one field at the same time. I think it's a mistake. I think it's a miscommunication between the two of them. One should have done 3, one should have done 4. So I'm not gonna, I'll just send them an email saying, I'm assuming you guys made a mistake and you meant to sign up for the 2 different. Does that make sense?
Yep.
They both signed up for field 4 through the week. And I think
Have they talked about time lacrosse in there or not?
lacrosse is not sent in their application yet.
But is it adjusted on that, or are they just taking something, they're using fall hours and just asking for it, and want to see how we work it out? Which I'm fine with, I just wasn't sure.
Say that again?
You know, normally they break up their time between the 2 soccers and lacrosse, where in the spring
Lacrosse is
season.
a different field. They haven't even,
So there's space open on those?
yeah, they haven't
Okay,
reserved.
okay.
They're just reserving their regular field. They've tightened up their hours.
Cool.
So it is yours?
The $3,000?
No, the 500.
The 500, yeah.
Which is the amount due versus the balance?
Yeah,
See the amount due, and then there's the
yeah,
balance.
I don't know what that is.
But then if you look at this, it just says 5,
Right,
so that's what I did.
pay
Okay.
that, yeah, and the water is high too.
So I'm gonna pay Bill.
Much?
579.
And it's high because we're heating the building in the winter.
How high is that building?
I think it's gonna be above freezing, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think they said they were gonna be at 40-something. He was gonna be.
Let me sign this before you go.
How long is that for? Is that a month?
Has to sign it.
It can't be a month, it's gotta be
Yeah, I know,
longer.
but I forgot to sign it.
I
when
would
I
think that
How
should
much is
be,
Byfield?
because I think, I believe it's propane.
36
So I think they fill it
It's the
when it gets
the
less.
drop.
Okay.
So that could
It's
last the
all-
next 2.5 months.
The user fee
That's
is
cool,
more
I'm
than
just
the
saying, make sure it
water
wasn't 1 month, that's all.
No, that's probably one fill.
Yeah, that's the, I mean, the water usage is $36, so,
It's $6 of
oh,
water usage and $30 of user fee.
oh, there you go. $6 worth of water.
Okay.
But the $30 user fee gets you.
Yeah,
Alright, so then I talked about the applications, so that's that. That's all I
Okay,
have.
do you want me to send a text tonight or email tonight to Joy LC about getting their schedule in?
Thank
You
you.
need to look across?
Yes.
That's what I meant.
Okay.
Yeah,
What are those acronyms?
Along those lines, there's a permit, I was talked to a couple people, they would like to try to do the ultimate disc again. Contingent on what everybody else is scheduling, so rather than try to push people off to make room for something that's still fledgling, we'll wait to see what everybody else needs, and I can work with soccer programs on Saturday or Sunday
They have
to
dates.
see if,
They've reserved all day Saturday.
Saturdays is not so much in there, it's Sunday, it's the issue, that's the preferred day, depending on what the schedule is, again, not knowing what their schedule is, they're gonna book the whole day. Lacrosse, my experience has been, they will have most of their away games, U9, U11, U13, U15, all at one spot, and then another week they'll all be back here. So we can work with them to figure out what works.
Should ultimately ask for ask for days, or just saying, what do you have open, and we'll work around it?
We will work together with
Cool.
everybody else,
Let's
just
go.
to say, and I'll do the contact.
Yes, thank you.
And if
So,
not,
but they have to submit everything to Lindsay, right?
no, it's not they, we. The Newberry Recreation Committee will continue to host an ultimate disc
So we
program.
don't need that.
Yes, I wanna have it on file so that it's in there and people are aware of it, it's not just.
So that I just keep the calendar, she keeps the files.
Okay, cause that will start the file, and depending on, there is an organization that would potentially cover them insurance-wise, otherwise we have to file. Each individual has to sign a release, and that'll go into the file, so we just keep in records. I did get an email from Chris Howe, who's a woman here about the yoga. Basically, here's an idea that she wanted to throw out. It was basically, she's certified through the Veterans Yoga Project and Mindful Resilience for Trauma Recovery Yoga. In addition to working with veterans with trauma, this practice is very beneficial at addressing stress, utilizing tools for breath, gratitude, mindfulness, and more. This type of practice is ideal for law enforcement and first responders. Be honored to offer classes at Rankin Field specific to this audience residing or working the greater Newberry area. If you and the committee are interested to further discuss this matter, let me know. She did write back, she would offer it free of charge. So there would be no cost to us. We could do the outreach to the lower Merrimack Valley, sign up and let her use the field house.
so how is she making money if there's no cost to us? She charging the people?
Nope, there's no cost. It's free to all. She is certified through an organization. The organization says, we will certify you to do this, you go out and do this stuff. A lot of people volunteer their time to provide services, particularly law enforcement or to first responders. And in this case, veterans.
Well, that's very noble of her.
Do we want to further delve into it? Do we want
If it's not cost us anything, it's just a matter of using the,
Scheduling the time, I would think.
would it be at the field house?
That's the property that we have responsibility and control over, so I would say yes.
We can't do it anywhere else.
Nope.
I mean, look, and when did you want to start?
This is all preliminary. She doesn't want, as I'm learning, rather than doing all kinds of work and laying out the details and then have hiccups along the way. She's interested? Great. Are we interested? Great. Next up, planning out dates, and we'll work along the way to, if this is what we want to do.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna throw out a motion that the Recreation Committee engages in more detailed conversation, preliminary work, and creating a yoga program for first responders, law enforcement, and veterans with Chris Howe up at the Mantor Field. So this,
So he's putting forth the motion.
Okay, so we have the motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Any
The
discussion?
motion is just to explore it further.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Go to it, Mark.
And next meeting we'll come up with a tentative plan.
Perfect.
Okay, the other one is, one of my neighbors asked, because they had gone on, because our meetings are
That's right.
not on a consistent date like the Board of Selectmen, are primarily on second Tuesday, second, fourth Tuesday of the month. And they're kind of hitting all over the board. It's sort of, they have to look every day on the website to see if a meeting is posted or called. Don't call about that. Our public announcement isn't, well, I explained to them, the regulation is it just needs to be posted and that can be at town hall, it doesn't need to be online. The argument was there's a courtesy because many other committees and boards have it posted, and we normally do. Ours didn't come on until, I think she said until Tuesday.
What's this, our agenda?
Our agenda on,
I have to have 48 hours before, and that's why I got screwed last week because of,
no, it's up, it has to be before 48 hours. So what I'm saying, what my neighbor was saying is, it didn't get on to the website until a couple of days ago.
Was it within 48 hours?
yes. 'Cause I'm the one that puts it on the website. And I made sure it was done it was done Tuesday afternoon before the Thursday.
Or maybe they looked on Tuesday morning, I don't know.
I'm just saying, 'cause it was done that afternoon.
And it had 48
So
hours
it's the
after
first
6
time-
I
p.m.
know what the statute is, that's
Yeah.
not the issue. The issue is, it would be nice to have more notice, because we know that it's happening weeks before, the general public does not know that. If we were to have our schedule every Tuesday, and twice a month, like the Board of Selectmen, people would say, oh, Tuesday night's Recreation Committee, I'll pencil it in.
Well, I thought you guys were scheduled to meet at the first Monday of the month.
We have, but then schedules have been thrown off because of different things that have gone on.
Different people that have been on and
people,
off the
yeah.
board over the
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Change.
So I mean, that is something that I would like to discuss tonight,
It has been.
to try to put a date in. So at
Okay.
least we have one day a month. Now that until we can broaden our scope, I mean, we're on working at Mentor, there's no reason to meet more than once a month until we figure it out,
I
so,
didn't talk about that.
what? That's easy,
Charge, yeah.
okay. So that's something I would like to talk tonight and see if we can plan a date and time and go. I'm looking at the February calendar right now, which is pretty open, so, when we get to after this, we'll start looking at it. All right, bills and claims are all set, you're done with the correspondence. Keys, motion sensors to the schedule, I can, according to the email that went through. The action item on this. I have to talk to Mariah about it, so I apologize, I did not get to it. I will follow up with her then to see if she has information and copy Susan on it, so.
Yeah, did she have to return the key, or is she still, we don't know any of that, right?
No, she has a key to,
Will you speak to her, because I sent her a note, but I don't know what kind of
Right.
reason this is, yeah. Will you ask her to send, the Board of Selectmen at the town of Newbury a note to say that
she's stepping,
she's stepping down?
yes.
She doesn't have to give any
I'll
reason.
copy in the email to make sure.
She doesn't have to, give any reason, just so that the Board of Selectmen knows. It's gotta come from her, it can't come, I can't say, you know, if
Isn't that
somebody doesn't wanna
contingent?
come anymore, I can't do that,
I know,
so.
I will email, I said I'll email you on that with her, so.
Oh, yeah, never. But our conversation got sounds here about the field, you know.
Okay, yeah.
All right, quoted Central Street and Byfield, options to raise funds. I have to get with, I haven't heard anything back from, Lisa Mead regarding to the differences between sponsorships and the money situation, so I'm gonna email her to see if we got an update or if I have to re-meet with her at that point, then I
Copy
will.
the town administrator on that
Okay.
email.
Tracy,
Yeah.
Online calendar.
Oh, I ran into Susan today, she's still working on it. It's gonna be kind of a, let's see how it works while we're in the process.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna keep doing a Outlook calendar in the background, hard copy, and she'll start bringing that online, but it's gonna kind of be a slow evolving process throughout the spring. I don't anticipate our users changing much this spring. It's gonna be more of a shakeout of what hours they use and what becomes available.
Mhm.
And then maybe come the fall or next spring, we'll start filling out those other hours. I wasn't expecting it all to happen this spring.
But again, it's a change, it's the
Yeah.
first time, first season
Yeah.
movie, so we have to figure out how it's
So
gonna
it
work.
actually better to do it on a smaller scale too, with just our 3 users and maybe a 4th and kind of fiddle with it.
As soon as we find out what hours we have, then we can either plan things around it if we want to, or we can certainly advertise that we have hours available if people want to do it.
So basically what we're doing is you're gonna continue with the Outlook calendar and we're gonna play or manipulate with the Google Calendar and just make sure that they continue.
She wants to make everything online instead of hard copy. It's like I went to pick up the mail today and GPS's application was in an envelope in the mail. Where Triton Soccer dropped it off with Lindsay. So, I mean, I check the mail once a month. I don't go there every day. So I don't know when that letter came in.
Online would be best.
So yeah, that's part of the whole, let's get this all kind of transitioned into.
And we still have, control over, before we okay these, different applications,
Yes.
if we wanted to say Sunday at 10 o'clock.
Well, right now they're reserving, so
But do we still have, I know they're reserving, but do we still have the right to tell them, you can reserve, but we need Sunday at 9 o'clock field.
so that window's shutting. Cause they're gonna wanna, like, Triton Youth Soccer already gave a check.
Okay.
We haven't, I don't think she's done anything with the check because they base it on per player and not per hour.
Yeah.
And she knew that that wasn't the right way to do it. But, at some point, they're making requests, we're gonna have to they need to know whether we're gonna honor them.
And anything that we anything we do has been planned ahead, so that we're not just arbitrarily picking dates.
Right, so maybe this season isn't the season
Yeah,
that we'll
no,
be able
no.
to black out
Yeah,
times, and we'll
but-
just kind of roll with this
Exactly,
for this
I
season.
think that's a good idea.
but next, let's say fall or a
It's
year
like
from
one
now.
phase at a time.
Try to make it as little pickups as possible.
Yeah, I mean, when we looked at the research of the other towns, did they black out a lot of dates?
I didn't look at their calendars and that.
Because a few people I talked to is basically, because this is the only place where, like up at Pipe State, this is their space. We're not gonna block it out to try to put new stuff in, a lot of new stuff, because they pay $500 and they give lacrosse 2 fields, soccer gets 5. You guys figure out within yourself how to manage your time, but that's it. Okay.
Okay. Signs at the field.
As I said at the last meeting,
Oh, somebody sent me a text. Okay, I don't know. I was supposed
like
to.
I said, at the last meeting, I met with James, explained to him where the signage was in the field house, where it goes on the post. Ideally, the post would have been painted black, flat black. And the signage on Central Street would be moved to where the signage is, locates where the fields are. We only have, basically 5 fields. So when you're getting there, it's not like you can't figure out where you're going, and the coaches all know the different fields. But that would give us a great big sign to go to a dog walker who's throwing on the field saying, right there, it says no dogs. Not on the road up the Ray, and not as you pull in, right smack in front of you.
And we should let our users know
right now,
that we're gonna be enforcing the dog.
so don't bring the dogs to
Tell
games.
your parents and players. Not, the dogs are not allowed on the fields.
If they wanna bring them, fine, but they gotta be on the outsides and nowhere on the house.
Well, if the games are on, it's hard for them to be on the field, but I hear what you're saying, I'm not disagreeing with you. I will email TYLS, TYLA, TYS, and GPS about that.
And they probably should also let
And no
their,
parking on the septic.
Okay, I will
Common
try,
sense. Common sense.
Well, we've never
Well-
really put it out to them, so
Yeah.
maybe this year.
the issue is not the local people who go there regularly.
Right.
It's on Saturdays and Sundays when teams come in,
People don't
and
know.
yeah, they just,
they just don't know better. So I will let them know, see if they can't change, because a lot of times, each league will have a list of the playing fields, and sometimes they'll have, special announcements, like don't park on Water Street, like I think Martin, Marblehead, one of the towns, you don't park on the street, you'll get towed, so we can try to encourage them to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a start.
yeah,
by
they don't,
letting-
no one knows where the
heads
septic is.
of the leagues are responsible for funneling down the information
Yeah.
to the coaches, who should funnel it down to the parents.
Yeah.
And maybe find a way to let the opposing teams know.
You would figure that the coaches on that field, which is usually where, so like if the kids are playing whatever sport there is, the cars that park right there are the ones that are on that field right there. So you would figure the coach from Triton Youth or whatever would say, hey, there's a bunch of cars that shouldn't be there, and just spread the word. But it would probably be easier just to have like a telephone pole to block that area out.
I did talk to James about that. I can remind him, maybe something to bring in the town administrator to make it a very visible barrier about where we consider the grass versus what other people consider the grass. Because some people say, oh, I got the grass all the way up to here. It's like, no, not really, we'd rather have you.
Do you know if National Grid has like old telephone poles that they?
I'm sure they do, because they replacing the ones on the main power lines right now coming up. So I don't know how the town gets them, but I know National Grid is,
We have your leftover.
they are replacing them at this point, the main.
Is the septic system easily visible, noticeable, or is it?
Oh, yeah,
if
but it's
somebody has
it's not so much that, it's like there's a septic line, and that's the problem. So it goes from the field house, and it kind of does a little dog leg, and then it goes up, and then there's the hump. And
Right.
somewhere they all, and it's, Mark and I have done this before, is we get there early, when we used to open the gates, we would just park and stay in a certain location, and then everyone else would line up with us. But if we're not there, if someone doesn't start doing that, someone just pulls up, and then everyone else does. It's not like they're doing it maliciously, they just,
Just don't know.
Ignorance,
Well-
they don't understand it.
The other option is we do have resources in our account that is appropriate for use to extend the chain link fencing that we did in the first half around. Well, yes, in theory, we'd like to get a basketball court.
Mm-hmm.
That we can always remove that at a later date, but it would certainly go around, continue down the line, make at least an L around the tank, the septic area. If it didn't go around the backside of it, I'd be okay with it. It'd probably be 1.5 times the current length, maybe twice, and that was only a couple $1,000 at most. And if we asked DPW to do it in the spring, when they have a little bit more, before they get busy with the paving and all these other things, they could hopefully just knock that off. Is that something we want to allocate funds for?
I mean, it's better than not having anything at all there at this point. I do, and we've all talked about it, that we do want to do the basketball court, and that would certainly, I don't want to spend a lot of money on something that hopefully that
just gets torn up.
it's gonna get torn up, that's right.
Well, it's something,
but it does help us in that regard.
yeah, I've put up, someone said put up temporary fencing, because that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
And then you gotta take it down, but it saves that fight.
Mm-hmm.
We'd still need to have it going around the septic tank, but it's currently not, it's not there.
Could we ask DPW if they have anything that is not temporary, but something that is easy to do and less costly? Because the stuff that's there in front of the
Well,
parking is permanent.
Well, it's like a sawhorse fork? Or is it
No,
too
people are
big?
gonna move it. I would think something more permanent.
What about something like a snow fence?
I
You know,
was
they
just
use the
thinking
wooden
that.
slatted snow
Yeah.
fence, and they're pretty easy to put up, pretty easy to take down. It's,
It's temporary.
Yeah, it costs.
I mean, certainly pay for it, but again, it's a temporary thing that we can
Wooden-
reuse if we
wooden
need to.
snow fence.
it's a snow fence.
Or the yellow, you know,
Wooden
like
snow
that,
fence.
Orange.
the orange stuff that has.
Or the orange mesh,
Yeah.
the plastic orange mesh, which is temporary fencing.
In worst case, you just write a thing on it that just says septic, do not park.
Right,
And
well,
then
that's
they'll
what
understand,
the
at
fence
least
is.
then they'll understand, it's not like we're trying to be jerks and we don't want you to park here. There's a reason behind it,
Right.
that's all.
Yes, we did have no parking signs put up, small plastic ones, those were torn down. The issue becomes with the signage, we have, what did we measure it out? We have
It's 100 feet,
150 feet
Yep.
from the
building to the.
building to the septic area that would need to have multiple signs, because people are gonna say, well, the sign's over there, I'm over here. And then you have to start going around, so you're putting up more and more signage.
Mm.
Yeah, I would think like you know, just a
Eliminated.
telephone pole or something that's, you know, a couple telephone poles on our side, going that distance would be enough to, and then it would keep the soccer balls from going up a little bit. I just saw James today, could have asked him.
All right,
Well, do you want me just to have a letter in general, what can they do?
Yeah.
Or do we want to,
Yeah, and when you send it, copy the time minister,
I will.
because that gets things moving along.
Yep.
mhm.
Yep.
Awesome, thank you, Mark. Next on the list is discrepancy spending.
Discrepancy or deficit?
Discrepancy.
Okay,
A deficit.
Because,
I don't know, because I never heard of discrepancy spending.
well, when you
Well,
have,
Deficit spending.
Well, we had started talking about this and doing the yoga and doing the ice rink and doing all these things that we were gonna do that had, so here's our fixed cost for the year. Here's what we're looking at, here's our money in, and look at that amount of money and see what we can spend. Well, now all of a sudden we have additional money because we can't use it anyplace else, which we'll bring up in a minute with yours.
Yeah, so before we go to that, I just thought about this. If we're thinking about doing a basketball court, if we had excess money in the court, since it is the
You
field,
took that, I was gonna discuss that in a minute.
just buy some hoops and put them in the garage.
Because if we can't, again, and Alicia's gonna correct this in a minute, but I was thinking, if we put X amount of dollars this year, use what we have, wait till July, do the same thing, because we can't use it the following year, and put it towards the court. And there's a big chunk of the money that we could use towards it.
Yep.
Well, we were looking at using,
$6,000 for a hockey rink, so that's 6 hoops right there. I'm just,
spitballing.
I would need to check with the town accountant. One of the issues with the Recreation Committee in years past, before we were on the board, is there was concern about piecemealing a larger job to keep it under the
Procurement
threshold,
laws. Right, procurement laws.
procurement laws, thank you.
Yep.
And even though that may not be our intent, it may be perceived as such.
Okay.
But I don't think that would be keeping it under the procurement laws.
Okay.
I think if you're stockpiling certain equipment to go towards a larger project because you have discrepancy spending.
Yeah.
I don't think that would fall under a violation of the procurement laws, because you're not doing it to keep the price down. You're doing it so that you can have funds from year to year that will accumulate to pay for the project. So I think, I'm not sure how that would be interpreted.
I think we need clarification from the town administrator or Eileen who left, but I think if it's done not in the same year.
Yep.
different than if it was done in the same year. Because you have, I know.
So we can't apply the money towards things.
Cumulatively within the same year, I don't think that's allowed, that you can't go around those procurement laws. But if you do it yearly, if it's a newly voted, it's in your budget.
Right.
Whatever's left, this is what we're gonna do, I think that would be acceptable, but I have to ask.
I mean, right now, as of the end of December, we have spent $13,045. We have just under $37,000 left.
Alright, well, let's just park that for
I
a second.
understand, I'm not saying use that, I'm just saying that's the report I got from the town.
Yeah.
That's what we have. We still have to realize we still have expenses from here to June that we have
Right.
to add in that equation. But I'm just saying, we had money that we were looking at, and maybe we do, again, we have to figure out what we're doing, but it's just a question of if right now, until something changes, that's the only place we can work on. It would
So
make,
where are you getting, that's the only place we can work on?
We were told.
What were you told?
It's in, I think the town, I looked at the town bylaws and all of a sudden it said that the recreation department, which probably we should change our name, our only control is, the Central Street fields, that's it. We
Where
can't,
did you see that?
Okay.
so it's in the town accountant told me, Tracy told me, and for some reason it must be.
because we were gonna start looking at buying
There's
ice
two,
rink and.
there's actually two different issues.
Okay,
One issue is revolving funds.
Yeah.
One issue is our charge.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily consistent. Revolving funds, by the document that was sent out by the town accountant,
Yeah.
gave the impression that we can only use funds from that account on the fields, on the field issue. And that's why I asked you to follow up, does that include Kent Way?
Yeah.
Okay, our charge is town recreation.
Yeah.
No age, no location.
Right.
So the question I think we're having, and what we're basically saying, is we need to spend the money on improvements to the field, and possibly Kent Way, but not necessarily to be able to do it with an ice skating rink that would be located on town property in another part of town. Did I
Or a
summarize
yoga
that?
You got it.
Or a yoga
Or a
program.
yoga program.
We can't do the yoga program, it's not happening in Mashpee.
Or no, it's not even that, it's, again, when I
Here's
read
your
it.
charge, right, so they printed it off? The charge of the Newbury Recreation Committee is to provide the residents of Newbury with a wide range of recreational opportunities. In addition, the Recreation Committee, in conjunction with the town administrator and other committees, will identify opportunities to develop new areas for recreation and bring proposals before the Board of Selectmen.
So from what I understand, it all comes down to money. And we cannot use any of our excess budget money for anything else but that field.
All right, that could be the revolving account.
That's a revolving fund, yes.
Right, and that could be that there is something tied to the revolving, like there's some regulation or rules tied around that.
So in order for us to
I'll
do
follow
anything, we have to go in front, like if we wanted to do, this is what I was told, if we wanted to do yoga and we wanted to appropriate, $300 or something like that to have yoga at the library, or if we wanted to spend the $6,000 for a ice skating rink for next year, we have to have that come onto the town meeting and have the town vote on it.
Yes.
So we have to line item appropriate that, so they'll come out
Right.
and they'll say, rec committee wants, $6,000 for this, $5,000 for that.
Operating costs are coming out of revolving fund, the other ones are coming out of a straight deal. Again, going back to something we've been working on, why it's so important to have a spending plan. Again, any time now, the town administration is gonna be asking us your spending plan for next year.
Yeah, you need to
And,
do that.
and we need to have it, and that's why the last couple of years, we've been pushing, let's have this, here's what our numbers are, here's what we're looking at.
So,
I've been.
so you keep talking about spending plan, but isn't that what we just went over with the budget?
That's the budget, yeah.
Yeah, so we kind of know what the budget is, but if you're talking about some kind of capital plan outside of our revolving account, then that, we thought about that. And what Tracy said to me, well, you guys should also think about, getting together and talk about the different things you want to do with that field area.
Again, that's the master plan.
Yep.
Which was,
The real master plan that the planning board has? or-
no,
No.
the master, it could be the whole recreation committee master plan, which at one point we talked about identifying all the properties that the town owns.
Yep.
That we could do stuff on, a lot of it has been sold, but there's a few parcels that stuff could be done on. Then we would look at what type of activities we wanna do. If it's yoga, we would submit a budget that would not come out of the revolving funds.
Come out of town.
It would come out a separate line
Town
item.
Yep.
It could be fund code 532 versus fund code whatever the revolving code is.
Mm.
And then, so on the town warrant for the annual town meeting, it would be recreation committee $50,000, which is basically a revolving fund to take care of the field, and another arbitrarily chosen $30,000 for activities that include but not limited to the yoga, the ice skating.
So
the
where's
this,
that
this.
$30,000 gonna come to?
Town has to vote on it.
Fund that, but
The
where
town-
is it gonna come from? Is it gonna come from when we raise and appropriate out
Free
of the
cash,
regular
I would assume.
operating budget?
Yes. And just like any other department, you submit your spending plan.
Yeah, that's the expenditure, but I'm talking about the input,
And-
to transfer money into that account, like where's that
We're
money
not
gonna come from?
we're appropriating it at the town meeting.
Right, but someone's gotta
Out of the
allocate that
operating
money.
budget.
Out of the
That-
operating.
Right. That
Not
money
out
has
of,
to
yeah,
come
not,
be
not out
allocated
of our
the
operating.
Because currently, we don't have anything in the operating budget
For,
for recreation,
Agreed,
we don't.
agreed.
So I think what I'm hearing is that you wanna add a line item in the operating budget
Yes.
for $30,000.
Well, no, I just put a number.
So a number in the operating budget, so the way that money will come from is through property taxes and excise
Yes.
taxes, when we raise and appropriate money, that's the
Yes.
only way it can get in there.
Yes.
the way I think it needs to be explained and presented is, in order for the recreation committee to meet its charge,
Mhm.
and that the way that the budget is set up at this point in time, it restricts us from allowing us to do and complete our charge, and therefore, there needs to be another line item for us to do expansion and to look at other areas and to allow more recreation and more availability to the town. Because right now, and I agree with Mark said earlier, is our budget restricts us from completing our charge, the way we stand now.
Yeah.
Our money is only allocated for the fields, and our charge is to expand more recreation throughout the entire
It's almost
town.
like, do everything outside of the field, we can do anything we want, as long as it doesn't cost us any money.
Or as long as we go before a warrant, put it on as a separate item and
Which
get it
is-
approved, which really, that limits us to
Well,
what we
that
can
would have to do it, you have to do that every year anyways.
Right.
Because town meeting spends.
Yeah, and, but they go, recreation committee wants 50, for their 50,000 involved.
Right,
People
it'll come
vote on it,
down.
but now we're gonna be going to town meeting saying, okay, let's say that the amount is $30,000.
Should we take 40 and then have 10 for?
That's why it was so critical for us to
put a
work
plan
with
together.
a spending plan over the last couple of years.
Yeah, but we didn't know at that point that we could, because we all thought, as a couple
That's
meetings
what I
ago,
thought.
and with you, with the
I
town
thought everything
selectmen,
could come out of there, I didn't know it was restricted to
Yeah.
only that.
We need it, that's why we, all of a sudden, we're
very, very.
very excited and then very, very
Yep.
depressed
Yep.
out of it.
So,
And part of that was definition, and that document came out in 2008. So it's not like the previous,
what document came out?
it went from Eileen's, approved
Yeah.
by the Board of Selectmen, I wanna say in the summer
This
of
one?
18. No, the charge, I wrote that. I
Right.
approved that.
This was
Years
approved
ago.
in January 23rd, 2018. That's what I was
Okay.
saying, 2018.
No, the other document came after that.
After this, okay.
Yeah, because I saw it online, I went and looked or something, and I was looking, and next thing you know, it said,
All right, well, Tracy's
recreation
on
committee
vacation this week,
says
so.
that they can only spend money, appropriate money for the fields.
I mean, I'm looking at the budget we put together back in November.
Yeah.
Our annual expenses, monthly operating expenses, is $36,000, so we're gonna use 36 of the 50 just to handle all the different expenses we have during the year for the field house and everything.
So here's another question that we have, because you have a balance in that account.
Yes,
Um,
so we're gonna have
Can
about
that
14
be
grand.
used towards,
That would need to go before the selectmen in the town to move those funds.
right, but can that, the way the revolving fund is written right now, can that go towards a basketball court, or no, it has to go towards a rec field and a field house?
Don't
It
know.
depends on, and again, part of it is the definition of what's the field house.
Yeah, they said if it's a,
What's the Mantry Field?
yeah, they said if it's, I think the way it was explained to me, I could be totally wrong on this. It's almost like if it's income producing, which is what we
Right.
were thinking.
It's a revenue, yeah, revenue.
It's a
generator.
revenue producing thing, then it would be okay, but I have no idea because.
All right, leave that, I have to talk to her about
But
this.
I think the other thing too is, the way that, the discussion that we're having is about the money being allocated for Manta Fields. If you're building a basketball court at Manta Field,
I would think.
aren't you
could-
improving the facility?
I
I
agree
don't
with
look
that.
at it as, when you look at Manta Fields, you can't just look at it as grass fields, you have to look at it as a recreational facility. And that's improving the facility, like if we wanted to put a swimming pool in, you know, it's the
Or
same thing.
playgrounds or something
Or
like that.
playground, or things like that, that's still out, that money is still allocated, available for there.
I won't give up the playgrounds.
Well, you know, that's what
Good idea.
frustrated me was the fact I was reading the local paper and there was an article
Not
about
always-
West
not always
Newbury.
believe what- keep the paper, but-
No, there was an article in West Newbury and West Newbury has 2,000 less people than we do in the town. And they're pushing through a $500,000 playground at the Page School because of whatever reason. You know, and I know that comes from the CPA
Yeah,
funds.
they have CPA money,
But
I think that might be coming back.
Community
preservation, that's how, that basketball court in Salem that I showed you pictures of, that had the hockey,
Yeah.
that was before, that was paid for that
It's a
one.
tax, it's an additional property tax.
Right.
And the money's put aside, and it's saved, and it's
Pre-allocated.
gonna be a
Additional property
committee.
tax on the
In
annual.
addition to your property tax, you get a CPA tax. So if your new report has it, you'll get your property tax, and you get the
Okay,
CPA tax.
why they have
It's
Oh,
it's a small amount, but it doesn't use
Well,
the
it
general
was big
operating.
in when it first came out, because the state matched the funds.
Well, that's why,
So
that's why West
that's how
Newbury has a
people were able
recreation
to,
committee.
they're
That's
the
why Newbury
same
has a
properties, they're
recreation
able
committee,
to
recreation dirt.
do things,
Someone gets
community
paid for that
preservation.
stuff. And then we can-
So, what happened recently with the
Lower Greenfield.
yep, the Low Greenfield and the whole, what's the name of the
Full
thing?
plumber?
Plumber, the plumber was the second homestead, I mean, that, we couldn't buy it, but that might be something that would have been identified as a community preservation act funds, that we could buy that and preserve it. But, you know, with all due respect, the family could have donated that to Historic New England and preserved it anyways, and they chose not to, they're gonna do something else with it, so. At the end of the day, it's a privately owned business, I mean, not business, it's privately owned property, and they can do whatever they want with it.
Mhm.
So, but, this group got awful angry by it, and, you know, if they wanna start. We tried twice to have Community Preservation Act passed in Newbury, and twice it failed, because it's a tax.
Third time's charge.
Third time's the charm, so maybe we'll see.
So that's something we should also think about too. We should try to, or is it just too soon to, you probably have a better feel on this. Try to get money for a basketball hoop again, basketball court again. Throw it out in town meeting.
I don't, until the other needs of the town are met, like the police station's being built, but there's still a town hall that has to get built. I think until those two big things, those tick boxes are checked done, I don't think it's a good idea for that.
The
I
other
don't think
part-
it's politically
Yeah, and it'd be also
wise
good
to it.
for us to take the route of providing services to the community that demonstrates what we're doing. We're just not building and letting go. That we've done stuff for seniors, we've done stuff for families, we've done stuff for, that we are developing,
Recreational activity.
recreation, meeting our charge, but we're doing something, not just building and wall feeling. And so you go figure it out.
So I think,
My only concern is that, you know, the longer you wait, the more expensive it's
I know,
And we talked about.
tell me that about
town
a
hall.
police station.
Yeah, police station. Could have done the town hall and police station for about 10 grand a bunch of years ago, and they said, don't want to do it. Now it's probably, when it's all over and done, it'll probably be 10 million, sorry. 10 million for the police
Both
station.
of them. No, they put a police station, we don't have 10 of them.
I
We only
know,
have
I'm just
8.5.
saying. We didn't have $200,000 for the field house.
Right.
Oh, we
You
did.
know what happens when it takes that much time to go from paper to mortar?
Yeah.
The price doesn't go up, so that's when things get cut in the actual construction of the property. They cut corners because they got an $8.5 million budget, they waited 3 years to get it off the ground, and now it's costing $10 million, they can't get the extra money.
Right.
So they just cut corners on the actual construction.
Right, and that was a big concern of the committee, the building committee, and they didn't want to do that.
Right.
I mean, these people, the 3 men that are on that committee are all professionals in that field, and they knew.
That's right.
They knew, and they weren't gonna have their name associated with something that was gonna fail. Or build something that's not appropriate, so.
It's funny you mentioned the Page School, that was a prep school for years.
Oh, really?
In 1971, I attended prep school there as a postgraduate out of Wynn Classical High School. We were ranked 3rd in the nation in football out of that little school.
Wow,
That school used to have a public rope to a ski slope out back.
I can see that because it's on that hill.
Used to, if you go back, the telephone poles are still back out behind you. That was my scholarship work study, was to work the ski slope.
wow.
So, 1971, yeah.
So, according to the agenda, that is what I have on the list, the old business. The only new business I have, and we're gonna discuss the action items at the end, is members.
Can I just interject one thing?
You certainly may.
Whatever happened with the final copy that was supposed to go on the website of the last procedures and policy and,
I have that.
Could you send it to everybody, because the
is
last
it on
one,
the website?
No,
No.
I have comments, I'm waiting for my turn.
Oh,
oh, no, the last person to have it was, my belief, and I could be wrong, and she's not here to defend herself, would be Mariah, because she had the electronic copy, and we asked her to forward it to Eileen to send it to the Board of Selectmen, and that was the end of it.
Well, maybe we ought to put on that before we do send it, about the situation with the dogs in the field.
it's on there.
It's
It is
on
on
there.
there, okay.
It's,
All right.
well, the version I remember seeing, it was on there.
All right.
And then that was part of the action items for the animals.
Okay.
Can we do that, because it's old business,
Fine.
before we go to the new
Yeah.
stuff? The actions item, would be Celine continue to work on the calendar and application, and it's ongoing. Michael Super Mariah about the update with the keys, that's
Yep,
ongoing.
I have both of these listed to do.
Michael's gonna work with town council regarding signage, and that's ongoing. Alicia, you'll check with the town administrator to determine if the funds appropriate to the recreation committee, i.e. revolving funds, can be
Yes,
used on Kent Way?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, I have Kent Way fall into rec committee jurisdiction. That one is still, with the holidays and I was away and she was away.
Ongoing?
That's still ongoing, I get it. And I'm gonna, this goes with this now, the revolving fund clarification, how to fulfill the charge with restrictions on the revolving fund.
okay, yep.
See if we can add a line item for the operating budget for the rec committee.
Okay, the other one was, work with the town administrator, chief of police and animal control to enforce dogs on the field.
Spot check Central Street fields for dogs unleashed by police and animal control. Again, I gotta come back to you on that one. I have it here, I just haven't started.
Again, there is, the statute is the, animal control officers can ask people to rein in their dogs. I don't see anything,
Well, I'm just gonna see if they'll, when they do their patrols, if they'll just
and again, walking on,
enforce.
in the parking lot, on the walkway and behind, and
It's
there's
just the fields, right?
it's just a field. Now, some people say, well, between these two areas there's a walkway, and that's not a field. The whole area beyond the, a lot of people like to bring their dogs to watch the game, and they're on leashes. Does that mean they're on the field? I don't wanna get nitpicky,
No, they're on the field, they're on the field.
Yeah. Yeah, because dogs don't know not to poop when they have to poop.
Right. And if they're on a leash, they shouldn't be on the field.
Because I know my dog would just poop.
we pick it up.
And some owners
No, I
don't.
just,
I would hope not.
And
And
that's
some
the
people,
issue.
right.
Just remember, guys, we're being recorded.
oh, that's right. Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, you can't control a dog when he decides he's, and even at that, you don't want the dog peeing where there's some kid gonna sit and have his lunch while he's waiting, or, waiting for his brother to finish the game. So we should keep the dogs completely off the fields. If they wanna bring the dogs out,
Right, out in the back.
yeah.
Or leash them, put your seat by your car. I mean, that's what I used to do. Okay, anything
Okay,
else?
and that'll be my letter to the, three organizations. Do you work with the town administrator to upload the field house policy?
Yeah, I have an update on that. So Ellen's got the field house policy. She said they're still waiting a fee structure for the field house.
We did some fees for the
Can she just
Groups.
upload that and then we'll follow up?
No, they want everything. Because if somebody wants to rent the field house, we don't have a fee structure.
Right, well, we don't have that.
I think we talked about it at one point.
I thought
Do
we
you
were.
think that Maria has an info? Cause then we came to like, there was like a whole,
No, if she had it, we would have put it on the pen.
I thought we had like,
How hard is it gonna be to do a fee structure for the field house? It's hard.
It's just a
It's
question
just
of,
that it's, I'd like to get the fees for the fields up, so people know that the change has happened and not wait on the field house part. Nobody has rented the field house all last fall, so
Right.
we can hold off renting the field house this spring. You don't have to rent it, just let people use it.
because worst case, all you're doing is you're uploading a form, and then once we do it, all they're gonna do is upload the same thing, just now.
Alright, let me go get Ellen, hold on.
We have special guests.
we get yelled at. Yeah, she was here.
I'm not worried about that. I just think it's ridiculous, you can't upload a form once and just do it again once we add the thing.
In the meantime, chapter 35 revolving funds from the town of Newbury, Thursday, December 12, 2019. This bylaw establishes and authorizes revolving funds for the use by town departments, boards, committees, agencies, and officers in connection with the operation of programs and activities that generate fees, charges, or other receipts to support all or some of the expenses of those programs or activities. Those revolving funds are established and governed by General Law 44, Chapter 53. And then you go on and define it. So what I'm saying is,
Hello.
I wrote this,
Hi, you're late.
So, here's Ellen,
Little.
she's the knower of everything.
Not really, but shoot.
Have a seat.
Am I here alone? I'll stay.
Actually, no.
How can I help?
So, Celine, they're asking about why the field house policy is not uploaded, and I said we're still waiting for a fee structure on the field, rental of the field house.
Correct, because
Is that not something we can add later when we start renting the field house? We have not made that policy, but we are changing the fee structure on the field, so we wanna get that up on the site.
Where we have rented the field house this past year.
okay, so part of the second part of the policy with cost. The reference to the parking lot and field house as shown on page 6 was not included. Do you wish to include reference to the parking lot and field house on the current document to make it clear what those charges outlined per the group are for? This was to Michael.
Great.
Back when, how long ago?
This was June 20th, 2019. Then you said, the document, second part of the policy that I forwarded from Mariah is the document you need to be approved. It contains both field and fees. We went back through the document and this is what the committee approved. I said, okay, I get it now. You will request the board's approval for the fees for the use of the fields for groups as outlined in A, B, C, and D. And the fee structure for the field house use is still to be generated for the policy and procedure manual, yes?
Yes.
And yes. Thank you for your patience and understanding. So that's where it landed.
I know
Yeah,
the
so,
Board of Selectmen approved the fee.
Yeah.
We approved the other
fees.
policy, yeah.
Yeah.
so can that be posted and we'll follow up with the field? Right now, nobody's renting the field house.
Okay, so, let me just run this by Tracy, I don't know, let me just run this by Tracy on Monday.
Just because people are starting to apply for the fields and we've changed the fee structure and we
They're
don't
still
have
seeing
that up.
So the fee structure for the fields isn't up, it's not up,
That's correct.
the one that was approved.
Yes.
Okay. I will get to buy them some one day.
Thank you.
you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
We love having special guests at our meetings.
Sure. Thank you. All right, so that's the field house policy,
Okay.
and then, is there anything else?
Yeah, will the town administrator determine, which town of Newbury employee will be responsible for the recreation calendar webpage update and data entry?
Say that again?
Who's gonna be in charge?
Which employee will be
Did we ever,
responsible?
did we ever,
We're trying to see if Susan was gonna do it, that's what we're.
No, Lindsay was.
Lindsay.
Lindsay.
no, yeah.
They said
there
they might have someone else.
Yes. They were working on it, but I don't know, it's ongoing, because I don't know what the answer is. I think they did find somebody.
Yeah.
But I gotta circle back with Tracy.
Until we have a definitive, it's,
I mean, in the big
Still
picture,
working on it.
there's really no reason why we have anything to say about this. It goes to them, they
Right.
put it in the calendar, they tell them. What can we do?
Right.
Not this, the other one.
No, that, I'm like, well, I thought we have to sign them. Okay, so who is, I think
We never have.
the is, I have to circle back with Tracy, but I think they did identify.
okay.
Well, the calendar. Calendar.
I kind of got slowed down with holidays.
Yeah,
But I
and
think
then I
that was
went out
discussed.
of town, and then she went out of town. So who has taken over the calendar in payment
And taking over, who's
Application.
responsible for that?
application?
Process.
Taking it over from Celine.
So it's, I had it down as a recreational calendar, the webpage,
Yeah,
keep
all of
that
that,
updated.
yeah.
And the data entry.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it for action items.
Okay, there was a question that there was a question whether the Triton Newbury student, if there was an appointed student could be a voting member
That was a
of the
question.
committee, that was a question. The answer is yes.
It's in here.
Right.
Yeah.
I wrote it. So it was a point, I would have bet money that if they're under the age of 18, they couldn't vote, but they can. So,
We should ask the Board of Selectmen or the town administrator, when they put calls out for board members, or make a call out to board members, that this is included.
no, I think a better way to handle this is to reach out to the guidance department at Triton and tell them that the Recreation Committee in the town of Newbury has an opening for, a Newbury resident that's a student member, it's gonna be a full voting member, and to sign, to be on the rec committee. Can they recommend somebody, or post it down there, or do something? They can
Easier.
recommend that to
I'm
the
not
board of
disagreeing with that.
Mhm.
We also need to make it public. About 20%.
Yeah, well, when I put it to, at our meeting on Tuesday night, under meeting updates, I'll put it out there, and then Jen will put it in the paper.
Have it in the paper, because about 20% of the youth in Newbury do not attend Triton.
Okay.
That's the action items. Your list is empty.
I'm sure there's more.
You should probably done.
That's all my stuff.
Awesome. All right, so I was told to buy a signboard. And after the whole,
Money thing.
yeah, I did not, but it would be for the fields. What's the proper channels to go about doing that? Should I talk to Ellen first and do I purchase it and then I'm glad I didn't spend $6,000 on a hockey rink. But what's the route I should go with?
You pay for it and get reimbursed, or do you have to cut your check is when he's trying to find out?
Yeah.
I think the best way to do it.
Yeah.
How are you gonna buy it?
Doesn't matter to me.
Online, or
What's that?
were you gonna buy it
Probably
online?
not, probably not, that's what I found.
Okay, so what I would do.
Yep.
Is I would email the town administrator and say, this is what we found, this is the link,
Yep.
and you buy it for it.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you very much.
Right.
That's easy, right?
That's easy enough.
Yeah. All right. That's I don't write it down, I'm gonna forget.
Anything else under old business? With there being none, the only thing I put it on here just is for members that we may need, to fill vacancies come, July first. I'm not speaking, I'm not,
Appointments go in June, come in June, yeah.
and end of June is when, so you'd be swearing new people in July. If they're the
Start
appointed,
serving
yeah.
in July, yeah,
Yeah.
the appointments will happen, yeah, so.
Because I'm not gonna speak for anybody else on the board, but this is year 4.
Mhm.
I've been chair for 3, so I think it's time for the new blood or whatever, depending what's going on, so.
Well, I appreciate all that you guys have done, because we would still have a broken field house if we didn't do this.
It's just something we may wanna look at, how we wanna do, so as Mark was talking about earlier about the student, we may wanna put something out to see if people are interested.
Yeah,
The committee has done a lot of work, it is a lot of work still to do, and some people are interested.
You don't wanna say that. A lot of work has been done. It's smooth sailing from here. We wanna
However you want to phrase it, I
We
am
wanna bring
fine.
people on.
I'm just saying, there are things that we certainly can, they can build up our momentum. So.
Yeah.
That is the last thing I have on my agenda for today. Is there anything else that wants to be added since we still have time? Hearing none.
No. Celine drove by the make it real quick. Celine drove by the field, the gate was open. We were concerned about that. I called the police department, they said they were still opening and closing the gate during the weekends, during the winter. Do we want them to do that?
Well, we had
what
asked,
about sledding in the back?
You don't slip up,
They
right?
just slid on the side.
Okay,
okay, a notice went out to the town administrator a while ago regarding that, so
Tell them not to do it.
ask them to not to do it, yes.
can you follow up with the town administrator on that one again? Just send her a note?
Yeah, because
We appreciate everything they're doing.
there's no reason.
That's very nice of them.
Yeah.
But they don't need to do it during the winter
They
months.
can take a.
Yeah, they had, the police department just thought that that's what they do, open and close, and it would be a lot easier for them not to do it. And obviously, I think when there's snow, they know they can't do anything, but, once this melts the next couple days.
Do we have a time when we want,
Have them start up again? Probably April
yeah,
fir-
do we have
April
a,
first.
do we have a
No,
April first?
no,
No,
no, because
it would be mushy.
that's gonna make it, that's the worst time to have it.
Yeah, probably May
Until
first
fir-
or
March.
June
Suspend
first.
it until further notice,
Yeah.
and we will look out the first couple of weeks,
I don't know if I wanna say until further notice, because they've been so good about doing it, I don't want them to think that we don't, we don't want them to do
We
it
just-
anymore.
About May
again, you don't
15th.
open the fields until whenever. So to open it up on the weekends, have
Yeah,
the
so
car
that's
go
what
back.
we'll say, we'll open it up, we're gonna stop doing it until the spring, when the fields are,
Okay.
are warm, are solid enough to have people use them. You follow me what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Alright, thank you.
So it's not open-ended, there's
Yeah,
a,
yeah,
there's a discrete time
Yes.
that we haven't identified.
yes, but it's coming in the spring.
Okay,
I stand corrected, I had one more thing left. We need to look, and it's mainly because what Mark had been emailing and discussing before, we need to plan the next meeting, we need to go back to either first Monday of the month, or try to do something that's more uniform. The first Monday of, which would be next, would be February 3rd. That is in like less than 2 weeks.
Well, first of all, does Monday still work for everybody?
We were kind of working around, I mean, you're gonna have problems once the season starts again, right?
Mondays work for me, yeah. I can do Mondays or Tuesdays. I mean, I can do probably any night, but if I get bombed or don't get coverage at the restaurant or something, I won't be able to get away with it.
You could have-
Mondays
yeah,
are days we're closed.
no camera.
It's not-
Can we bring a camera?
It's not town property. Plus, if it's a holiday, they won't have a meeting anyway.
Yeah, Mondays work.
Celine?
Mark?
I think that, on Monday's a real estate holiday?
Never is.
Do we wanna go the 3rd, where it's only 10 days now, or
Well,
you
I
wanna?
think the third, if you don't go the third, you're gonna wait until March second, right, or March 2nd. I kinda think you need to meet, honestly, I hate to do this to all of us on the third, because the town administrator is gonna be looking for
The budget.
a budget.
Yep.
And we gotta get clarification on all these issues,
Yep.
and then also, it says here, I'm glad Alan put this off for us. An annual report will be submitted to the town administrator at least 30 days prior to the annual town meeting. So that is when, they do the annual, they put, those books that we have out and some, what did you do this year, we have to, provide validation for ourselves. We've done a lot, we don't know how it will shake out yet, but
No,
we
geez.
did the fee structure, so you might wanna start thinking about that, doesn't have to be long, very high level, not into the weeds,
Yeah, we've improved our fee schedule, we've done this, we've done
and the
that.
policy, yeah.
We've
Just the
explored
one
one
paragraph.
side of the field house and we figured out the expenditures and.
So, yeah,
We established a consistent budget, we
We've
identified activities that would promote our charge and.
for all residents.
Written, already written, there you go.
Yeah, so if you could just, record that, and send something out, Mark, that would be
You already
great.
did record it, it's on the camera.
Yeah. The other thing about having it on March 3rd is by the approval of this
You mean February 3rd?
February 3rd. We're supposed to notify and issue the permits for those who have submitted by the February 10th, I believe. So if we do it the 3rd, we should have all those in. Actually, it should be done now because it should be closing. And let them know by the beginning of February.
Alright, so again, we still have that option of saving a field or no.
No, they've made their schedule.
Right.
Again.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're saying, but next fall, we'll have a little bit more discrepancy when we get those in to say, okay, well, here's your schedule, this is what you're asking for, but we have this area. Or it may be to the point we have the calendar online, and when they go to get their times of the calendar, they'll say, this time is blocked, or that, because I think we go back to our original discussion, because somebody from town said, hey, one of them is if my kids just wanna go and kick the ball around. They, to be able to have a field open for someone, so let's look at that in the fall. That's mine.
Okay, I just would like briefly respond. Not everything's gonna be available for everybody all the time. And we have people who are paying, if they want it, reserve it, just like anybody else does. The fields are available. I can't go behind Newberry Elementary and use the basketball courts at 1:00 in the afternoon during the school year.
That's because it's
It's public property, it's owned by the town.
well, I think there's a little bit of
It's also a
difference.
distraction,
I
it's also a
understand what you're saying,
distraction to the,
But the idea
the school.
is,
Mhm.
not everything's available. The lacrosse and soccer programs and any other programs that are using, there's only one place that they can really play in town here. Where if you want to go play a pickup game of kickball, you
Yeah,
have the
sure.
field here. So,
I understand.
okay.
So what time are we meeting on February 3rd?
6 o'clock. I already have it on the calendar, and I have the agenda almost already done.
And we try to keep them through an hour and a half.
An hour and a half, no more, if we can get done.
And so our thought is to come up with also a spending plan for town meeting, correct?
Yes, it's on,
Okay.
it's on the new agenda, new items already.
So we have, do we have any homework? Besides my.
I do have the stuff, the actions from before as I do as well.
The action items are Mike will work with Mariah about keys and rate.
Do we have any homework for the budget though, and anything to do with that?
We just need to write it up and separate.
Because I already have it spread out in the spreadsheet right now, all the different pieces, so.
And if there's things that we want to add to it.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I'm just talking expenses, I'm not talking adding, the operating cost piece of it, I'm not talking about programming stuff.
well, if there's any operating costs that we haven't thought of, any purchase, and that's for next
Maybe we
year.
should buy some things then.
Well, we talked about the AED, that would be used for people on the field. We talked about tables. There's a number of things that we have talked about. We do have some funds that should be able to be used based on the documents sent out earlier.
Didn't somebody say something about a Whittier person coming and
Yes.
making a plan for the fields?
Not plan for the field.
We have someone making tables for the field.
Boy Scouts.
The idea was we were gonna, I'm sorry,
But weren't they gonna, wasn't there some kind of landscape design or something that someone had talked about?
we had, my understanding, if this is what you're talking about, we're to come up with a master plan of the different uses for this property. And again, it goes, does
This is
our
what
funds-
the town administrator wanted us to come up with and say, hey, you know, this is your privy, what do you want to do? Basketball court,
We have ideas for them,
yeah,
they're the
and that's
ones
what
that,
yeah, so we have a
we
plan
present
for
to
the
the,
future.
to the local Boy Scout troops.
So, but where's Whittier coming
I don't know.
in? This brings us 8,000.
We were gonna try and
Thank
see if some of the Whittier, if we had projects that we wanted done. Whittier has various different programs that, shops they could possibly help out and build or do the work for it.
I feel like we need a design. We have the fields, we have the field house, we know where we wanna put the basketball court, where do we wanna put the picnic tables, where do we wanna put a playground if we want. We don't have an overall,
That's what the town
Design.
administrator
master
wants.
plan
Yeah.
for the fields.
we need somebody who knows how much room there's a playground, you know.
So that goes down to our list of what do we want there.
Yeah, and I think the town has somebody that they contract with to do that design work.
They do.
So you could just tell them what you want and they make it happen. That's what I think.
Yeah, we had a map, and then we could just fill in the map what we want.
Yeah, that's,
And then they'll put it into scale.
All right, let's do it. Let's talk to Ellen about it. Get Ellen on it.
That's fun, that way.
With that last comment, I'm afraid we're gonna have a mugging on camera. I'm teasing, of course. Do I hear a motion to adjourn at 7:18?
I second it.
Any discussion?
Or a motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're done. Thank you.